For more than 40 years, Uganda's leadership survived on one powerful assumption, that its foreign allies would always look the other way. Abuses were documented, elections were questioned, opposition voices were crushed, and still, nothing changed. Until now. For the first time in decades, Washington is no longer whispering behind closed doors. It is speaking out, publicly, and that shift could change everything for Bobi Wine and millions of Ugandans demanding real change. This is the moment where silence finally broke, and what happens next may shape Uganda's political future. If you believe this conversation matters, like this video and share it now, because what's unfolding here was 40 years in the making, and the final part of this video explains why this pressure could change everything.
Our top story today is from Uganda. The country's Army Chief General Muhoozi Kainerugaba has made yet another controversial move. He broke ties with the US, accusing its embassy of hiding opposition leader Bobi Wine. But just an hour later, Kainerugaba, who is also President Museveni's son, made a U-turn. He deleted the post and issued an apology to the US. It all started with a post on X, which is Kainerugaba's favourite place to wage wars and attack his enemies. This is what he posted.
Because of the present situation where an opposition leader kidnapped himself and is missing, and according to our best intelligence, he did all this in coordination with the current administration at the US Embassy in our country. We, as UPDF, suspend all cooperation with the current administration at the US Embassy in Kampala.
And in a separate post, Museveni's son also issued a threat to foreign powers who may attempt to protect Bobi Wine in the future.
I want to say this only once. Any foreign powers that attempt to smuggle Kabobi outside the country are going to create a serious rupture in relations.
But soon, Kainerugaba reversed his stance. He deleted the post within an hour of putting it up and shared this message.
I want to apologize to our great friends at the United States for my earlier tweets that I have now deleted. I was being fed wrong information. I have spoken with the U.S. ambassador to our country, and everything is okay. We are going to continue our military cooperation as usual.
And this was pretty quick. Now, Museveni's son was unusually quiet during the election campaign, but as soon as his father was declared the winner, he resumed his inflammatory online postings. And his top target has been Bobi Wine. Kainerugaba has said that the manhunt is underway and that he will catch Bobi Wine either dead or alive. He has also denied allegations that his men assaulted Wine's wife Barbie during a military raid at their home. Wine has accused President Museveni of rigging elections, which were marred by an internet shutdown, while the opposition was either sidelined or silenced. During the election campaign, Wine said that he would welcome Trump's intervention in Uganda, just like how the US captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
And I believe that any assistance that comes our way is helpful. However, that assistance should not be to take over our country. That's why I firmly believe that the responsibility to liberate our country, to govern our country and to move it forward lies entirely with the people of Uganda.
Well, even though Wine has been in hiding, he has been actively posting on X and retaliating to the army chief's threats. What he is saying to Kainerugaba is catch me if you can. It appears like a run and chase game playing out on X. Wine has said he will reappear whenever he thinks the time is right. He remains in Uganda, but his exact whereabouts are unknown. Meanwhile, Kainerugaba is visibly growing impatient. And joining us to discuss this further is Wambui Njuhi Nzigo, a political risk analyst at Control Risks, joining us live from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome to First Post Africa.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's first look at this comment and this post that has come from Kainerugaba, and then he's redacted it. What do you think this shows? And can you explain a little bit more behind the thinking of this post and its redaction? Do you believe his comments that wrong information was fed to him?
Yeah, so it's not clear whether this is actual intelligence that he received, or maybe it was a speculation based on the fact that Bobi Wine has previously retreated to the US. But in terms of why he retracted the tweet, I think this has been a common pattern with Muhoozi. So in the past, his father has been forced to apologize to Kenyans after Muhoozi tweeted something implying that Uganda could capture Nairobi. And similarly, his uncle, General Salim Saleh, has also had to issue an apology to the European Union due to tweets from Muhoozi. So this is a common pattern that has gone on with Muhoozi issuing tweets or statements on social media and then retracting them soon afterwards, and should not be surprising to anyone. He probably retracted the tweet in order to let the situation calm down and to resume cordial relations with the US. Uganda has strong cooperation with the US, especially in terms of counterterrorism, that kind of thing. So this probably what informed his decision to retract the tweet, just to resume those cordial relations.
Wamboy, what also followed was a threat to any countries that in the future might want to house Bobi Wine while he is in hiding. Why do you think he sent this message, and which countries may be inclined to look after Bobi Wine?
Yeah, so as I have just mentioned, Bobi Wine has previously sought asylum in the US. So that is definitely one avenue that might be available to him. But other than the US, I think many countries, seeing what is going on social media right now, with the kind of statements that are coming out of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is the head of the military, many countries might feel that Bobi Wine's life is in danger and might be inclined to offer him asylum. So this is not necessarily limited to the US, but many other countries that value democracy, whether that is a country within the region or other countries abroad, would have expressed a willingness to house Bobi Wine, just from the standpoint of political asylum.
And Wamboy, let's build on that then. What do you think the wider African perspective on the ongoing situation in Uganda is?
So I would say that the wider African perspective is that President Museveni has been in power for a long time and is well respected across the continent. I think many young people might say that they are in favor of Bobi Wine just because he has that sort of support base among young people, both in Uganda and across the continent. So I would say that opinion is slightly divided, and depending on who you ask, you might get a different perspective on this.
And finally, Wamboy, of course, many experts believe that Kainerugaba is the president in waiting after his father, President Yoweri Museveni. Given his activity on social media, which we know is common, how do you think that will be perceived by the people of Uganda?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Muhoozi is well known for issuing such controversial statements on social media platforms. So Ugandans, I would say, have probably grown used to this. Actually, people from all around the world have grown used to seeing this sort of statements from him on social media. So it doesn't come as that much of a surprise. And they also would know by now to take his statements with a pinch of salt. As I've mentioned, he has often retracted the statements that he has issued on social media. But at the same time, Muhoozi has taken a break from social media in the past, and just sort of quietened down as the elections were going on, to sort of leave room for that to happen. And he may be advised by those close to him to do the same once again, just to allow the situation to de-escalate, and to present a more professional presidential image going forward.
Yes, and of course, more broadly, Bobi Wine is still on the run and Kainerugaba is still in those efforts to try and find him. Wamboy, thank you ever so much for your time and insight on First Post Africa.
Thank you so much.
What happens next will not be decided by tweets, threats, or foreign speeches. It will be decided by whether pressure turns into accountability and whether Ugandans are finally allowed to choose without fear. This moment did not begin in Washington. It began with Ugandans who refused to stay silent, and voices like Bobi Wine, who continue to speak despite the cost. The world is watching now, but history reminds us, attention fades unless people keep demanding better. So the real question is not what the United States will do. It's what Ugandans and Africans everywhere will insist on. If you believe Uganda deserves dignity, freedom, and real choice, leave your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and share it, because conversations like this only matter when they are heard. Follow for more African stories. They don't want you to examine this closely. Disclaimer: This video is for informational and analytical purposes only. It does not call for violence, foreign intervention, or the overthrow of any government. All views expressed are based on publicly available statements and media reports.